is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. This is your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio, presented by JeffBuysYourHouse.com. Access, Level 10 Coatings, Steiner Homes, Center Guard Plumbing, and by American Beam and Steel. With your host, Roger Piper.
Your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio.
Hi, welcome to Home Answers. I'm Roger Piper. This show is all about your home. We talk about everything. Today, we're going to talk plumbing with Mike Epping from Center Guard Plumbing. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Roger. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
You know, Mike, one thing that I encourage all homeowners to do, I call it the list, okay? And when you have somebody that you like and you're trusted, and, you know, okay, here's my plumber, here's my HVAC guy, you know, here's my roofing guy, whatever it is to have that list and have it sitting, you know, on the side of the refrigerator in a desk somewhere. Because when you need it, the last thing you need to do is to be looking somebody up. And the other thing that I recommend is that you do your research in advance, saying, okay, I need a plumber. I don't have anybody really. So let me do my research now when I'm not going crazy. And I have a water, you know, I have a sewer backed up where I have a water leak, and be ready to call. And I think that that's something that would be really good to do. If you don't have a plumber or you're not happy with your plumber, I recommend doing Mike and Center Guard Plumbing. A couple of things. You got a lot of trucks, okay? You know, you're not the guy in the truck. You have a lot of trucks, so, you know, you can respond pretty quickly, right, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have 20 trucks on the road daily, and, you know, our response time is very quick. Most quotes, most everything we do, if we get that to you before noon, you know, we guarantee it. We'll do it the same day. Yeah, and that's great when it comes to, you know, if you're remodeling a bathroom, okay, that's one thing. But if you need the service right away. And the other thing is that you've got that calculator that is you can do on the website, which is centerguardplumbing.com. Tell us about that, because that is unique, okay? A lot of people don't have that, and that is something that makes you feel really good because you can find out information. Walk us through that and how you can use that calculator on the website. If you go to centerguardplumbing.com, you'll actually see where you can click on a price calculator and input the information and what you're looking to do, and actually come up with a quote within 30 seconds to a minute, depending on, you know, what the project is and how much information needs to be put in. The beauty of that is then you can take that turnaround. We'll get that, contact you via email, however you want to be called. Mm-hmm. It's hassle-free. You can send us pictures of a faucet leaking, a toilet you want replaced, a garbage disposal leaking, an ejector pump, you know, a sump pump, a water heater, any of those things, and you can actually turn around and send us pictures, and we'll give you a hard number quote. Yeah, isn't that something? You know, I've worked with contractors forever. I have never known anything like that. That's pretty incredible, because, you know, if you have a problem, let's say you have a water break, you know, water line break on you. You're sitting there going, okay, do I have a $500 fix or do I have a $5,000 fix? The anxiety goes through the roof. And with this thing, you're able to say, here's what it's going to cost you, right? Because you can take pictures in this day and age, you know, you can take pictures of anything. So you can put the information in, upload some pictures, and be able to get a quote and know what you're looking at right there. What happens, you know, obviously, if you get into the home and you find out that there's some things that weren't mentioned or, you know, an ancillary issue, then that's going to change. But you're giving them a hard quote, right? Yeah, it's a hard quote. I did it last night at 9 o'clock at night. Had a customer email regarding a 50-gallon water heater. I emailed him back. He sent me 3 pictures. From those 3 pictures, I gave him a number. We scheduled him, and we're putting that water heater in today. And I guarantee you we saved him probably $1,000 over our competition. Yeah, isn't that wild? So if you make that list, which I always encourage you to do, and you don't have a plumber or you want to add another plumber, put Center Guard down there. Because when you're freaking out, and most of the time, you know, we've talked about that, 80% of the time when you're talking to a plumber, you're freaking out because there's a problem going on. You just talked about that, a water heater out.
I get a water heater going out, my whole family's nuts. You know, I mean, it's like the internet went down in the house. You know, people are going crazy. So get on, make that list. Do it sometime. And then put Mike's phone number on there, and also Center Guard Plumbing. And it's 847-406-8883. Okay, and Center Guard Plumbing is pretty easy to remember. Mike, tell us about one thing that, we just talked about water heaters. So tell us what's going on with water heaters right now.
Yeah, right now we're running a sale on atmospheric water heaters, meaning that it's going to have a metal vent on the top and goes into a chimney or a B-vent chase.
Your traditional water heater.
Yep, traditional water heaters. What we're doing is we're doing 40 gallons installed, a standard installation. We're going to haul away your old one, and we're going to do that for $12.95.
Okay.
A 50-gallon is $13.95. Same rules apply.
That's a good price. If you haven't priced water heaters lately, you'll know that's a pretty good price because they have gone up the last few years, haven't they?
They've gone up at least 3 or 4 times a year almost for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. Why is that?
I think a lot of it really started, COVID definitely affected it tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
And, our bargaining power and negotiating power, we still buy water heaters cheaper than really any other, plumbing company out there because of the volume. That's why we can offer what we do to the listener.
Mm-hmm.
And they increase generally 4 to 6% at least twice or 3 times a year. Well, over a 5-6 year period of time, that adds up.
Yep.
I mean, if a person just was to Google a 40-gallon state water heater, atmospheric vent, a Bradford White, 40-gallon atmospheric, they're going to see, retail numbers of $1,100 just for the tank.
Yeah.
That's just for the tank. No labor, no installation, no nothing.
So, Mike, it's good to know that if you're going to be pricing out a water heater soon, it's gone up. And probably the last time you did it a few years ago, it's going to cost you more. So that's a good special. And you can find out more about that at centerguardplumbing.com. Tell us about excavation work. When when that happens, you're dealing with some things. So tell us about the work that you do with excavating.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. And what I want to point out to listeners is I think hands down this is the most overpriced and the biggest ripoff in the plumbing industry.
Okay.
And the reason is the majority of the companies that go out when your sewer is backed up, it's an emergency. You just said it. It's all hands on deck, and I need somebody immediately. And most companies will just come out there and they'll throw a rotting cable in the sewer.
Mm-hmm.
The minute they hit something, that's not a soft blockage, they tell you need to excavate the sewer and replace the sewer.
Right. And now we're talking thousands.
Oh, in a lot of cases, you're talking tens of thousands.
Yep.
And you're not just talking about the excavation. They're pushing you towards either a full liner or replacing the whole line where you might just have one spot that needs a repair.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do that repair. They want you to replace the whole sewer.
The whole thing.
So we'll do, what we'll do is, 90% of the time, we actually are going to clear that conventionally by rotting it. And you're not going to have to excavate it at all. Or are we even going to propose excavation? Because of the machines we use and the training of our people, we're able to clear sewers. It might take us 2 or 3 hours to do that.
Right.
But for that charge versus tens of thousands of dollars to excavate when you don't need to, the majority of the time it's tree roots.
Mike, this is kind of like the HVAC companies that automatically recommend a replacement immediately, and then they go and they talk to a couple other companies and find out it was a part. It seems like in plumbing they want that whole line repaired right now. I mean, they don't even look at alternatives.
No, and you're 100% correct. And that's why this is the most expensive thing that can happen to a customer in an emergency.
Yep.
And companies take advantage of that situation. They know that you're in a bad spot, and they're going to want to push you and sign a contract. And the majority of these companies out there now are just sending sales guys to your home. They're not actually tradespeople. Mm-hmm. You could go look in the back of their truck, and there's not going to be much for inventory or parts or equipment whatsoever. They're just there to sell you something, get you to sign a contract, and get somebody there as soon as they can to start the job. We had a customer that told us the other day that The actual company, the sales guy, followed them to the bank to get the deposit for the job the next day.
That's not scary, is it?
No,
Jeez.
high pressure, and that's what we're offering you. We're not only going to save you a bunch of money, do a high-quality job. We're licensed, bonded, insured, 20 years. We've been doing this for 20 years. I can't even tell you how many owners and friends I know that have gone by the wayside in the last 20 years.
You know, you can't grow to the level that you are unless you're doing it right. I mean, you just can't. You've got a lot of employees and a bunch of trucks, and you're busy all the time. So, that right there will tell you they're probably pretty good. And your plumbers first and salespeople second, right?
Yeah, no commission.
Yep.
How many companies out there can say that right now?
Yeah.
That our guys aren't commissioned. It's unheard of.
You know, if you have it, you can see why. And I'm going to flat out, I'm not getting paid for this, okay? I'm going to recommend this guy if you need a plumber because there are just too many reasons not to recommend him. So if you put together that list like I talk about, make sure you put Center Guard Plumbing in there and look up the number online if you need it. But it's 847-406-8883. They just do business differently. And like I said, I've had plumbers in and out of my life my entire life. And you can tell the good ones, and he's good at that. So good company we're checking out. Again, Center Guard Plumbing. Mike, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Roger. I appreciate the kind words.
You bet. It's Home Answers, and this is AM 560, The Answer.